We are
About to do something really fun. Remember that black goo that once bonded with Peter Parker that made him dance across the street? Well, now imagine it was real, and that it was you who bonded with it. Would you become a monster who tries to take over the world? Or would you instead make friends with it and build a romantic relationship? Well, after looking at almost every case of symbiosis in Marvel, I think I have the answer. And just like in any good relationship, whether you die or you live happily ever after depends on you, the government, and it. But what is it? Just like your crazy uncles, your annoying sister, or your religious grandma, symbiotes are an asexual intelligent alien species with every member characterized by a unique personality and abilities. And although all of them share a savage and bloodthirsty nature, the same cannot be said about their identity. Venom, for example, is usually the most benevolent one, if you could call it that, compared to someone like Carnage, who's a rage-filled psychopathic murderer. This specific trait is what defines whether the symbiote gives you superpowers or if your organs get eaten because the alien's hungry. So, how can you tell if you're compatible with the symbiote? There are actually two ways to tackle this topic. The first is taking the 90s Spider-Man cartoon version of Venom, where he was first shown to alter its host's personality.
I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
This is also the version of Venom we saw in Spider-Man 3. Not very fun. Just like in real-life nature, this is a type of symbiosis called parasitism, where one organism, the parasite, my bad, benefits from harming another, the host. In this case, the host's negative traits, aggression, and confidence are dialed up to 11, making it so that a true bond is only achieved through these negative emotions, as it's the case with Harry Osborn in the Spider-Man 2 game, Bully Maguire, or the ugly-ass Venom from Spider-Man 3. This means that as long as you accept the symbiote, it is only a matter of time before you either get rid of it, or it takes full control of you, and eventually the world. Thankfully for us, there's a more fun and strangely realistic way of going about bonding. Little pause here, since as far as I'm concerned, Spider-Man doesn't exist, yet, then we're gonna be working with symbiotes who have never bonded with the webhead. This means no spider-exclusive powers. If you want more detail on those, go check this video I did on spider powers next. Alright, back to bonding. As was originally written in the comics and how it is presented in the Venom trilogy, bonding is all about the match between both organisms.
We should be out there, protecting the city, lethally!
In contrast to the parasitism seen before, this type of symbiosis allows for mutualism, where both species benefit from their relationship. A bee gets pollen from the flower gets pollinated. The blob gets to live, the human gets alien superpowers. But it goes way deeper than that. This is where the whole personality thing comes in. Just like a couple with matching chemistry, both you and the symbiote must share goals, personality traits, or feelings in order to create a strong bond. Otherwise, the host could be killed by the parasite. This bond is also directly correlated to the strength and abilities of the symbiote. The stronger the connection, the stronger you become, and vice versa. That's how Venom beat Carnage in the movie.
Together we are the Lethal Protector!
The power of love, if you will. However, just like in any relationship, not everything is perfect. And we're gonna play a game to prove it. You're gonna choose one of 3 types of bonds to create with your newfound buddy. And then, I'm gonna expose the pros and cons from each one. Wins whoever chooses the most powerful and reliable bond. Got it? Nice. Venom is your first choice. The same heroic version as in the movies, where the pair feels like a married couple. They argue and don't always agree on everything.
What was that?
But the love for each other keeps them strong and on the path of good, even if some heads have to be chopped along the way. Carnage is next, as this purely evil psychopath, whose anger and thirst for blood are the sources of his power. Also, since Carnage is Venom's offspring, he's usually depicted as being stronger in almost every way. Finally, we got Agent Venom, a slightly more docile version of Venom where the bond isn't as strong. However, in most cases, the symbiote tends to bend to your will. And you also carry guns. Okay, got your choice? Great. But before we begin, how about you hit that subscribe button?
Do it for us.
Wait, who said that? Anyway, let's start with Venom. Like all bonds, after an extremely uncomfortable feeling of goo filling up your organs for the first time, you'd be granted a symbiote form that is usually defined by your body type. Slim build, you get fit Venom. If you're a woman, you get curvy Venom. And a muscular build gets you 19 inches of Venom. The package also includes super strength, enhanced durability and speed, photographic memory, a healing factor, the ability to shapeshift, and a creepy ass face. That's the coolest part. Not to forget that in symbiote form, you become sensitive to fire and high-pitched sounds. Unless you have the Spider-Man 2 version, where he can walk through fire, cause why the hell not? What sets Venom apart from most other symbiotes is his amazing connection with its host. In this case, you. Not only can you grow exponentially stronger due to your loving relationship, you also have an extra friend to hang around with.
Jump. Pussy.
But your relationship is known to sometimes get a bit toxic. Like giving you cancer and leaving you to die kind of toxic. Long story short, the biggest problem with the symbiosis is the fact that you could live normally without Venom, but the same isn't true the other way around. This has led to moments in the comics where Eddie develops cancer after Venom tricks his brain to believe that he does, because it fears his host will eventually move on. Or another case where Venom replaces Eddie's organs with symbiote cells, keeping him alive for eons, while his soul slowly started slipping as his brain and memories needed replacing too. At first I thought you would have to be afraid about going crazy for having a creature talking inside of you, but the truth is that it's way scarier when the symbiote is the one that loses its mind. So, what if you both have lost your mind? Carnage has the same powers and weaknesses as Venom, with the added bonus of being able to morph his body into blades and weapons due to its violent and bloodthirsty nature. The problem here is that, well, you're a fucking psychopath. The only way to create a strong and healthy bond with Carnage is if your goals are merely to murder and enact revenge in the most violent ways possible. And since no bond is a no-go, well, let's just say I hope you're not a psychopath. Good news is, there's one type of symbiote that should be free from any craziness. Agent Venom is a good example of what having full control of your thoughts, emotions, and actions looks like. Until you don't. Since there's no married couple type relationship here, losing control would result to be a lot more destructive than in Venom's case, where one throws TVs out the window, the other destroys the whole building. This just means that we can either make too strong of a bond or too weak of a bond. Are we screwed? Depends. In my extensive research, I've found all types of symbiotes that would eventually end up falling into one of the three bonding types I've mentioned earlier. Scream is a less scary version of Carnage. Toxin is a more calm and immature version of Venom. And Anti-Venom could be as docile as Agent Venom, seeing how Peter kept it through the Spider-Man 2 game. However, it's still a symbiote, meaning you could have Green Lantern levels of willpower and there would still be a chance of it going nuts, with no way of controlling him. Unless, what if you could? What if your willpower was strong enough to subdue any symbiote and you weren't bound by any negative side effects? Well, in that case, let's see how long you could survive on Earth with a symbiote up your ass. My guess? Less than you think. Picture this. You achieved the love bond with your slimy friend, acquiring all his powers. Now, what are you doing first? Becoming the lethal protector of your city? Or telling the world about your newfound power?
How did you do that?
Apparently I have a parasite.
Choose one, and we'll see which path yields better results. Spoiler alert, you'd probably end up dead either way. If you become the lethal protector, your days would consist on eating chocolate, chickens, or the occasional human brain, since all of them contain the chemical compound symbiotes need to survive, called phenethylamine. Thanks. Apart from that, everything should be normal. I mean, as normal as being a slimy monster vigilante who eats brains can get.
He did not taste good.
So, what's the problem? Well, the whole slimy monster who eats brains thing.
How about this, son? The FBI is still investigating us for all of that stuff that we were involved with. So if one more head goes missing, we will get hauled off into Area 51.
That's actually pretty accurate, to be honest. You can't expect to go years without the world noticing that the chupacabras is very much real and that it's eating people instead of cabras. And if you think there's any way of hiding it, well, not even Batman could keep his existence a myth for more than a few years. And, allegedly, he didn't even kill people.
Get in there.
So as long as you're not careful, your government will find you. And it probably won't take long for them to find out your weaknesses and subdue you by playing Sweet Child of Mine at full volume. So then, what if you instead work with the government? The Agent Venom storyline explores this possibility, as Flash Thompson works alongside the US government in a series of Black Ops where he dons the name Agent Venom. However, in real life, they'll either use you till you're 90 or study you to death to then keep the symbiote and use it as a nuclear weapon they can threaten nations with. Not very fun, is it? And don't even get me started on what would happen if there was more than one of those on Earth and Null was behind the invasion. In that case, yeah, we're screwed. Unless we had one of... And if you want to know what a day as Batman looks like, watch this video next. And as always, thanks for watching.